The Nightmare of Sportsball, proudly sponsored this week by Fubo TV. When it comes to sports streaming, you can't find a better option than these boys. With how pricey cable's become, is there any wonder why tens of millions of people are cutting the cord for other options? With Fubo TV, you can get all that cable provides and more at roughly half the price. Take Sunday football watching. You've got the basics of all the major sports networks, regional channels, and local stations. But how about NFL Red Zone? Why not infuse an endless variety of nearly every sport you can think of, live and recordable with cloud-based DVR? Certain games are even able to be streamed in 4K. It only takes 2 minutes to sign up for all of this. Best of all, you can try it for free, and if you're not satisfied, you can cancel your subscription at any time with no strings attached. What if I were to tell you that you can get 15% off your first month by going to FuboTV.com/Utree? I'd say that's a game changer. Help yourself to Sportsball bliss with Fubo TV. The only thing that should hurt is your fandom when your teams lose, not your wallet. I don't blame you whatsoever if you're a Vikings fan and want to burn everything to the fucking ground after this one. This matchup encompassed every single goddamn thing that's wrong with the Minnesota Vikings this season. It's a checklist. Let's talk about the first half. When Pittsburgh wasn't just caught with their pants down, Minnesota was raw-dogging them behind the stadium. This is some of the worst defense I've seen out of the Steelers in decades. Dalvin Cook was running against a Pop Warner unit with some of the massive holes he had. Even the guy who did Goatsy is envious at how gaping this defense is. If Kirk Cousins could throw accurately and Justin Jefferson could catch, this would be even worse than it already is. I'm not even happy for them. This is the potential that the Vikings have. And I'm furious as an outsider looking in because they've rarely shown this kind of ability throughout the year. Oh, if only that were the extent to how Minnesota would want to channel their ancestors' love of pillaging the English coastline, this wouldn't be a thing. You would believe that a 29-0 lead would be more than enough to kill off any team's ambition, but you don't know what the hell both these teams are about. I keep the Vikings away from horny old men because they will try and blow every damn thing they can. The sheer amounts of bullshit and what the fuckery is a Pittsburgh specialty as well. They shouldn't be anywhere near competitive in this game. Yet Ben suddenly reverts to prime form, the line blocks efficiently, and the defense suddenly clamps down like we're back to the LeBeau years. It's the worst case scenario for both teams. Neither wants to truly win, but they'll pretend that it's close either due to the NFL's rigging or random implosions by both squads. Clutch play after clutch play is somehow being made as Pittsburgh is roaring back with a fury that we haven't seen since last week. And Vikings fans are fearing the inevitable. And the predictable. As the Steelers are driving to tie in the waning seconds, I ask one question. How the fuck is this even a game?
End zone, incomplete! Vikings win it!
Of course, it isn't the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers to bring all hope back only to drop it in triple coverage on the final play. I don't give a fuck if the Vikings won. I still want Mike Zimmer burned at the stake for this shit. In no way should this have been close. How was this pure Vikings yet pure Steelers at the same time? We need to talk about Chase Claypool. Nothing good ever comes out of Notre Dame. And Mapletron is becoming another frustrating element to a team that's been ripe with drama for years. Now, seeing a wideout so goddamn self-centered and ignorant of situations isn't uncommon. But from a guy who hasn't put up the production to come close to justifying it? This isn't anything new. This has been happening for a while. Think to a few weeks ago when multiple players were criticizing the team's practice habits. So what was Chase's solution to this problem? To play music during practice. Dude, way to not read the room. That's Chase these days. From bitch moves on unsuspecting defenders to getting benched for his antics, it's becoming repetitive. The piece de resistance, though, was deep in the fourth quarter. Dude's out here celebrating a 7-yard gain on fourth down as if it means a fucking thing. There's 30 seconds left, the Steelers have no timeouts, and you're flexing when the team's trying to spike the ball? And then you're throwing a guard under the bus for trying to show urgency? This kind of self-centered bullshit is becoming Claypool's specialty, and it may have cost Pittsburgh a chance to tie in the end. Lol cow of the week? Never heard of her. I'll play the music louder for you next time, you fucking bum. Jacksonville Jaguars are a Dave Chappelle comedy special. All they do is deliver the laughs. They're so consistently bad, so incredibly mismanaged, so goddamn terrible at literally everything involving football. Tennessee can enjoy the free win, but that was all but expected. If they're lucky, they'll be getting King Henry back just in time for the playoffs. The Jags aren't as fortunate. James Robinson is being Heidi Fleist in the back. Trevor Lawrence spoils faster than milk in the sun. Fucking Harlem has better urban planning than Jacksonville has. We have Marvin Jones, a respected veteran, openly walking out on the team and getting into massive arguments with Joseph Duvallin over here. The cult of personality is very real. He proclaimed he's a winner, and his assistants are the biggest losers this side of the goddamn state. Yeah, Urban, 2-11 is quite the impeccable winning culture these days.
Jacksonville Jaguars eliminated.
Speaking of abortions from the AFC South, the Houston Texans are officially punting the season. General Mills will be leading the charge of the 10th Clown Battalion. Marching towards a battlefield in Seattle, they gracefully charge towards the enemy, only to be suffocated by mustard gas. The Seahawks are garbage, that's been confirmed many times over. However, against the likes of Houston, they don't have a problem. When the Texans' offense can consistently infect Ken Norton Jr.'s antivirus, they're doomed. That's entry level for any victory against this team. In the Emerald City, this kind of game comes around as often as Halley's Comet. Seattle didn't have heart attacks en masse over how shitty the Seahawks are for most of the game. I have no idea how, but Pete Carroll's boys still have some semblance of life. They're probably thinking long-range game for the heart attacks this year. How many times do we have to scream it to you? Do not fuck with the opposing team's logo before a game. Nothing but bad luck and divine retribution will come your way. The Raiders are now the latest example of this self-inflicted hell. Las Vegas got really cocky after beating the Chiefs at Arrowhead during COVID year, didn't they? Too bad for them that Kansas City is roaring back with a vengeance. The defense clamps and Patrick Mahomes returns to playing backyard football with ease. This whole game was so ghastly and brutal that I can't describe it without violating several public decency laws. With a decisive shredding and dicing, the Chiefs do something they haven't done all year. Play up to potential on both sides of the ball. It's not much against this sad sack of a unit, but it's a start. Raiders, if you feel shitty, the once almighty coin had you losing this game, so you can pretend it was your destiny to fail or something. Both these teams are absolute garbage and don't deserve any shot at the playoffs, but this season is about prolonging agony. One of these teams must unfortunately win, because tying is impossible unless you're the Lions or Steelers. Jobbing to the heavyweight contender in Tampa Bay allowed you to be relegated to a mid-tier matchup with Carolina, where the competition is much easier. When they're trotting out an aging star in Cam Newton, the only thing they're gaining are a few more sold tickets. Forget innovation. No-run CMC has turned this offense into a dead horse I need to beat into the ground. Against this pathetic unit, the Falcons' D looks like they're back to their 1977 heyday. Things are depressing in Charlotte. Cam Newton got benched, summoned back into the game when they realized his backup sucked, and then got benched again. It's a shame this is how his career dies, but the team is dying along with him. This loss reinforces it. To think I thought the Panthers were on the right track after last year. I'm sorry for the jinx, Panthers fans. With both of their division rivals breathing down their neck, New Orleans is feeling the pressure. To have any chance of their fleeting playoff hopes staying alive, they must win against the pushovers. Speaking of which, the New York Jets. They play hard. They try to win, but the Saints are finally getting much-needed reinforcement. Alvin Kamara's back from injury, among others. It's desperately needed, especially as they're stuck with Taysom Football as their starting QB for the foreseeable future. Fortunately for them, it's enough to get it done. If it's a stroke of good luck or what, the Saints' defense hasn't been overly destroyed by injury, so they're able to effectively squash whatever attack the Jets have. A crucial win was earned to stop the bleeding for now. In a rite of passage, Zach Wilson is undergoing the traditions that Sam Darnold did before him and Geno Smith before Darnold. The Phi Kappa Jet initiation of ruining quarterbacks. Them being good or not doesn't matter. Those massive injuries New York suffered before the season were a harbinger of what was to come. Can you call these kinds of seasons butt fumbles when they keep happening over and over?
New York Jets eliminated.
Dallas is waltzing into this matchup in an insanely arrogant manner. Mike McCarthy guaranteed that not only would he be carried to relevance by talent, he guaranteed victory against name redacted. It's easy to feel confident when the team brings their own heated benches to FedEx Field because Dan Snyder doesn't give a fuck about upgrading or maintaining stadium infrastructure. He also doesn't seem to care about anything about his team showing up to the game or not, as Dallas is undergoing a transformation into their final form. One that feasts on their inferior NFC East prey. Dak may be on a month-long slump from his usual standard, but that doesn't mean the Cowboy defense can't fuck everything up for Washington. Taylor Heineke is Jekyll and Hyde personified. One day you'll get the good form. Today you get complete fucking garbage. With said relentless defensive pressure, it turns into a laughable 24-0 shitfest by halftime. But don't you dismiss this game for a goddamn minute because Dallas chose to take their foot off the fucking gas. Washington has a chip on their shoulder. And don't you forget that. A furious comeback into the hope is all we can hope for at this point. With Dak throwing pick sixes like this, it's a reality. It doesn't matter if Taylor Heineke is hobbled and forced to leave the game for Kyle Allen, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. He has a shot to lead them on a final drive to victory.
Pressure. Allen in trouble. Throws it. That might be a fumble. It's loose. It's picked up by Dallas.
It would be nice if Washington's O-line could block. So much for the comeback. Fortunately, the NFC is pretty shit, so the Reskins still hold the 7th seed. They somehow control their own destiny. Fucked up to think. I don't care what the records say, both these teams aren't good. They have insane weaknesses due to both one-dimensional schemes and a barrage of injuries. Baltimore's been running with a magic 4-leaf clover shoved up their pee-hole for most of the season, but this may finally be the moment it ends. Not only is Cleveland, their former home, making them pay for the old sins of Art Modell, but Lamar Jackson is forced to go back to the locker room. And it isn't for the sake of reliving memes. You can't shit out your ankle, so the game's going to fall on the shoulders of I can't believe it's not Lamar Jackson. Here's your mission, sir. You have to try and come back from a 24-3 deficit at half. Do you think it can be done? Probably not, but we don't give a shit. The Ravens are in a deep hole and can't afford to lose any more ground to those behind them in the division. Every game is precious. And the Browns are hot garbage as well. They've gone back to their old form of harakiri by means of strangling themselves with overpriced tickets from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Baltimore isn't doing much, but Cleveland will do more than enough to oblige them. Throughout the fourth quarter, Raven Might will slowly but surely bring them back into the game. Helps when the Browns don't score a fucking point in the second half. So now Baltimore is only down by 2 and need an onside kick to have a chance.
Owen hit a lineman and it's gathered in. Chuck Clark.
Wouldn't you guess what happened? At this point, all I'm hoping for is for Cleveland to choke because they're completely useless, but we can have nothing wholesome in this world. The Browns defense is able to clamp down on imitation Lamar and the Ravens to hang on to win. It may suck, but fortunately for Baltimore, Lamar is only dealing with a sprained ankle, and they still hold the division lead. But if you haven't bothered to look at how ugly and competitive it is, then you don't like AFC North football. Shit's a cockroach that won't die. The gods have blessed the Broncos today. Out of tragedy comes a form that harkens back to a championship pride. Detroit, their roster limited by illness, and their sluggish performance were merely a conduit for healing and recovery. Defensive suffocation. Offensive competence. A powerful dual-threat rushing attack of Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. It's another round of going up and down the roller coaster for the Broncos. This time, oddly enough, they may have life. They're 7-6 and have a fighting chance for playoffs, but they face other January suitors. But none of that matters right now. This day is to pay tribute to a team legend that was taken from us way too soon. This day is about Demaryius Thomas. This dominating win was for him. For one moment, there are bittersweet feelings for Bronco fans. Lions, I know you were the feel-good story last week, but this takes credence over your blasé trinkets. There's probably some room in the corner for you to gather dust.
Detroit Lions eliminated.
Boys, I have another scorching take hot off the presses for you all to be amazed at. The New York Giants are a big pile of diarrhea poopy fuck. I will take my likes and retweets on Twitter for this amazing discovery. Most incredibly, the G-Men are still injured to hell and back, and the Chargers are in a must-win mode due to the cutthroat nature of the AFC. What the hell do you think happened? There was ass-kicking. There was more ass-kicking. There was rubbing down New York's ass with scorching lava. And then there was even more ass-kicking. The only other thing to say, Justin Herbert can throw a football. Jesus Christ, at least give the Giants a chance to pretend they can win this one. I know the Make-A-Wish campaign tried the whole let them get pity points in garbage time, but it can only do so much. We all know what's really important. Another pivotal matchup for the Chargers against Kansas City on the hell that is Thursday Night Football. Without what the Chiefs have been doing as of late, you're gonna need everything you've got for this one. This is low-key an incredibly intriguing matchup. Both teams are slipping under the radar due to either lack of expectations or early season struggles. However, they are eager to assert themselves on a grander stage. Ambition is an intoxicating aroma, and both the 49ers and Bengals are in situations where they need to win. They need separation from the hungry packs of wolves that smell blood in the air. Before all goes to shit, the 49ers show the world that last week's slip-up was a fluke. Cincy keeps fucking everything up. Specialty being cooked at Paul Brown Stadium, bungling punts to allow the Niners to gain a 17-6 lead at half. All may seem lost, but what's been the recurring theme for this week? Massive comebacks at the behest of elite offensive form. Joe Burrow is the real deal. You can see it in his poise and chemistry with his receivers. Jamar Chase is justifying his draft pedigree with amazing catch after amazing catch. Despite everything thrown in their way, it is only a one-score game. But time is running short. What they need are big plays. They've got one on their final drive to Tyler Boyd, but they need another.
Burrow throwing the other way. Corner! Caught! Jamar Chase!
This is honestly the loudest pop I've heard out of Paul Brown Stadium since Vontez's pick in the wildcard game that shall be forgotten. Tie game. All they need is one stop, but San Francisco has goals of their own. And they have their own weapons to flourish.
Garoppolo. Oh, what a catch by Kittle!
Holy fucking shit, George Kittle, you madman! Robbie Gould should have no problem sealing the deal now.
Oh no!
Or not. The surprising epic is going to need overtime to settle. Cincinnati gets the first chance and the right to knock the Niners out at their own game. They will push with everything they've got, but it's not enough to get 6, and must merely tolerate 3. Here is where we get a Bengal tradition unlike any other. Heartbreak. Cincy's defense has no answers for George Kittle or any other receiving threat, and the Niners rep the positive emotion right out of every fan in attendance. With victory, San Francisco gains crucial separating distance in the NFC wildcard. All that the Bengals get is agonizing pain. They did everything they could, yet still came up short. Back into the dog pile with you. You get Denver next week. Buffalo is hitting the point of their season when they realize that perhaps the Bills were vastly overrated before the year. There are plenty of things to point the finger at, but they forgot the golden rule of business. Never get high off your own supply. They chose to sit on their palms and do nothing to address the issues on the team this past offseason, and they're paying for it now. At this point, their running game is Josh Allen, followed by Josh Allen, and even more Josh Allen. Their interior line and probably their tackles as well are pretty terrible. All of this combined with a defense that can't hold the raging waters of Brady have the Buccaneers with a commanding 24-3 lead at halftime. What Buffalo needs is a miracle. What Buffalo needs is Josh Allen. They need his 2020 prowess back in a bad way. But the NFL can't let the Bills upset the precious balance of power in the NFC. Not that Josh Allen gives a shit, he'll carry the team as far as he possibly can. This includes undoing that precious Buccaneer offense showcased most weeks. The winds are changing. Bills Mafia is coming back. And they desperately need this one not to be a crab falling back into the AFC bucket. You silly bastards, did you seriously expect to beat Tom Brady? This man has owned you so hard over the years that he lays claim to about 70% of the real estate in your damn city. You can march down the field with less than 2 minutes left, but you won't be able to push it to the end zone. Sure, go ahead, send it to overtime. Receive the kick even, it won't delay the inevitable. Brady's coming back home and he's been slugging beers at the local bar. He's got allegations of ref ball on his side and had a big day at the races. I don't even have to consider this a rising action. We all know what's going to happen.
All year, and here he is on 3rd and 3 from the pocket. Connecting. As Perriman taking it all the way for the win.
A devastating dagger thanks to the usual bully. And a nice gift to his old hubby Bill Belichick to continue to hold the AFC East. Thank God the Bills are playing Carolina next week. You aren't gonna somehow blow a game against that cupcake, are you? You aren't gonna fuck it up, right? Cherish this, Packers fans. This may be the last time Aaron Rodgers successfully invests more of his hard-earned reputation into owning the Chicago Bears. In the hallowed field known as Lambeau, there will be more of the same. Chicago made one crucial mistake. Robert Quinn tried to taunt Aaron Rodgers after a sack in the first quarter. Do not tempt him. He will unleash hell. Like most of his career, Rodgers is straight up balling. Justin Fields may be back, but he's an amateur compared to Packer greatness. Look at Aaron effortlessly sling the ball wherever he wants and be convinced of his majesty. It is destiny for Wisconsin. When they see the Bears on the schedule, their eyes light up like Lori Lightfoot seeing a social program. There's going to be a clinic taking place, and it involves maintaining NFC North supremacy. It would have been a hell of a lot uglier too if the Packers' special teams didn't decide to drool in the corner for most of the game. Fields at least tried, but there was no chance for Chicago. Green Bay is a number 1 seed to fight for. The pylon in front of them simply needed to be run over. I still believe Rodgers would be a significantly better owner of the Bears than the McCaskies. He'd at least give Chicago a discount double check on parking or something. A heavyweight battle to tell us all who is worthy of the NFC West crown. The Arizona Cardinals are looking to secure a playoff berth for the first time since 2015. The Los Angeles Rams have one arm tied behind their back. COVID pulled a Lawrence Taylor and invited itself into their hotel room the night before the game. The Rams have serious doubters, and now they'll have to pull this off without Jalen Ramsey? Impossible, you think? That answer is no. All I can believe is that either the Cardinals felt bad for their opponent or were nerfed in a patch beforehand, because all I saw out of them were careless errors. They had plenty of opportunities to swipe the game away for their own gain, but it just never happened. On the other end, the Rams took full advantage of their offensive firepower to soar to greater heights. They needed this one. Not just to maintain striking distance in the division race, but for the questions about them to cease. They have their statement win. Or so they think. Arizona is putting on a show for their fans and doing everything they can to lift off at the last minute. And they did recover the onside kick. Jesus, can anyone properly close out a game these days? Somehow that answer is a surprising yes. It got a bit awkward there for a moment, but the Rams secure their statement win. Well done, lads. You put yourselves back in Super Bowl contending status with this one. There will be those of you asking how I'm going to be treating those that make the playoffs this year. Where are the vignettes? Well, nobody's clinched yet. This is the third time that nobody has in Week 14 since 1978. Last time it happened was in 2014. Both conferences are a sheer bloodbath. The AFC is straight fucked. New England holds the 1 seed with Tennessee and Kansas City right behind them. Baltimore, in the best division in football, survives with the 4th seed. For wildcards, the Chargers hold 1, but for the other spots, there's a 5-way tie. Indianapolis, of all teams, holds first tiebreaker. The Bills are hanging on for dear life with the 7th seed. Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Denver are also 7 and 6. Pittsburgh is just behind them thanks to the dreaded tie, and the Raiders and Dolphins make up the rest of the pack for now. The NFC is top-heavy this year. With the Cardinals' loss, Green Bay now holds the number 1 seed, and Tampa Bay is 2nd. Arizona has the 3 seed while Dallas claims 4th in the former tank division. The wildcard spots are as follows: Rams at 9 and 4, the Niners at 7 and 6, and 7th place. Washington has it for now, but the rest is mediocrity abound. The Vikings, Eagles, Falcons, and Saints all have the same record as name redacted at 6 and 7. At 5 wins apiece, the Panthers and Seahawks are somehow still hanging around. And making up the caboose, the Bears and Giants wonder how the hell they're still alive. You want parity? Well, you fucking got it. You have enough parity to solve global inequality. And all that's left is the exhausting hell of NFL football. It's only going to make the one rule more apparent.
Don't get eliminated!
Football is a brutal game. May the bell toll for the fallen.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost.
The unthinkable has happened. We have reached the end of my cut of Chopin's funeral march. Corona Jen takes no prisoners, and neither she nor the football gods show no mercy. Amen.
He will make his way over there now. There are just 10 in the huddle. The X position will be left open. Only 10 men on the field at the 25-yard line. John Hussey is the referee. And they're going to take the delay of game.